All right, I gotta change this AC belt and mess with this tensioner on my LS2 Corvette. And I've watched a lot of videos, and I've got some ideas here, but there's a couple of things I couldn't get answered through the internet, such as how do you take the AC tensioner off. So I'm going to try and film that to the best of my ability here. I started my car last night after taking apart the dash to fix the HUD, and then I hear this loud clacking noise, and I popped the hood up, and I seen my main tensioner here just banging back and forth, and I shut the car off, and then that's when I noticed down here my AC belt had came off. So I don't know how that happened. All my pulleys are true, but my AC tensioner is pretty noisy, so I'm wondering if that's just old and just doesn't have enough pressure on it. So gonna see what this process entails. So the first thing is it's cold as shit in this garage right now. It's like 20 degrees. I got all the doors closed, but I might sound like I'm shivering a little bit, so I gotta keep my hands moving here. The first thing you gotta do to take the main belt off is you gotta get a 15 millimeter socket or like a box end, and slide that over there, and then push all the way over here to this intake, and this pulley will move, and that'll give you just enough clearance to take this main belt and just slip it right off. So I have to do that first, because you have to get this AC belt out of there, I have to come through it or remove this belt entirely, which I'm going to try to avoid since I just replaced it. All right. Yeah, so since this is already partially off, all I had to do, like I said, is I slacked this up, and then I kind of pulled this through it, and then just reached in there and worked it around the harmonic balancer. It helped that this main belt slipped off of one of the pulleys and gave it a lot of slack. So you'll probably have to take yours completely off, but it might be possible with a little bit more careful hands to just take it off of this tensioner and then do the best that you can to prevent it from slipping off those other pulleys. Because if you got bigger hands, it is a little bit of a pain to get them on there. It's not impossible, but it is something to avoid if you can help it. So anyway, this belt came out. If yours did not fall off the pulleys, there is a... Well, this is blocking it now, but right there is the tensioner. So it's really hard to hold this camera in there and my headlamp, but I'm going to reach in here and push on it, and you listen. I'm pushing against the spring. Yeah, so that could have been causing some of the squeaking, but the goal is to take that whole assembly out. Alright, now I'm going to undo this AC tensioner. You can see I got my flex-headed 15 millimeter box wrench. Mine ratchets, so I've always seen people do this with just like a fixed wrench. Mine, the only one I could find was a ratcheting one, so just reach down here. It's hard to see, but doing the best I can. And just break it loose. So you get the idea. I'm gonna put this camera down so I can work with both my hands, but that's what we're going for there, that bad boy. Alright, here you go. This is how it comes out. You got your 15mm bolt. Then there's this steel washer, I guess, or cover. And then you got your actual pulley. So in the back side of here, I'm seeing some grime, and I don't know enough about these to know if that's normal, but I do know that I can feel a lot of grittiness in this bearing. So we're going to change this out when we put the new tensioner in there. So it comes as one assembly. I'm going to go ahead and save all of these parts though until I have that in the mail. Now, let's come under here and take a look. So that's what you're left with. The housing of that tensioner, and now I've got to figure out how you take that thing off. So I'm gonna get down there with the flashlight, and then when I come back you'll have your answer. How do you remove it? It's 13mm bolt. 13, it's not a 15. You can see I got my socket wrench with a short socket. I'm not sure how clear that's coming through, but it's a short socket. Just put it on that bolt that's about 2 inches down and to the left if you're staring at the front of the car. It might help to look at a picture online of what a new tensioner looks like. That's how I did it. So it's just a single 13, and unscrew that, and I'm assuming this whole assembly just falls off. So this was a pure luck shot here. So I just blindly reached down there and just kind of got it on there. Although if you look carefully, you can see you kind of have access from below through that tiny little channel. So it probably would have been easier to come in from underneath, but I just decided to try to do it blindly, and I got lucky. So I'm going to go ahead and finish unscrewing that, and then we'll see what happens. Go. So that's a bit of a pain. You gotta sit there with your ratchet and push it forward and backwards about 600 times. I had it fall off once and had to crawl under there and get the ratchet, but I'd say all in all I was hunched over the fender there and just moving it like this. About 2 minutes of that, 2.5 minutes of that, and then I was able to reach in there and just jam my hand in there and just unthread this and then carefully lift it out. There's nothing blocking it, so really the hardest part is just getting that bolt, getting that socket on that bolt really is the hardest part. Once you got the ratchet on there, you're pretty much in the end zone. You just gotta make sure you keep it on there until it's got no more, stops clicking on you and you know it's loose. So there's that. There's this. This all comes as an assembly. In hindsight, I don't think that taking this out is completely necessary to do this. However, doing it from the top, it does give you more room for your tools and for your eyes. So, I don't know. Make of it what you will, but if I were to do this again, I probably would do it this way. Plus, this stuff's going in the garbage, So putting it on, I'm probably gonna drive it up the ramp so I can work from underneath and get this thing started. So, but we'll see when that shows up. So there you go. What's up, guys? We're back. It's been a few days and my shipment came in. We got a new AC tensioner right here. As usual, when you get these parts, it's probably a good idea just to check them and look closely and make sure before you dive into doing all this that what you got is actually the same thing. So I just take them like this, just kind of check and see, are the pulleys the same size? Are these pins in kind of the same spot? You know, does everything look similar? And yeah, I think we're good. So the one thing is that this bolt, whoop. Okay, this bolt here, the one that came out of your tensioner, you need to save this because your new one doesn't have it. So mine was kind of stuck in there, and I had to just unscrew it out, but now it's going through nice and smooth, so I don't know. But yeah, we're gonna go down there and see if I can put this on without taking this pulley off, and we'll jump right to it. All right, so again, coming in from the top, the way I found to do this, even with this car lifted up on these blocks, is I'm gonna position my body right here. And then of course, you know, Corvettes are fiberglass, so I'm gonna try and not throw a bunch of weight on the body. Actually, with it raised up like this, it's a bit easier. So, but anyway, here we go. I got my shoulder up against the back side of the hood. And let's see if we can get down here. Right there, where the tip of my finger is, that threaded hole. And then take note of that other small hole that the peg right here has to go into. So it only goes one specific way, which facing the front of the car is going to be something like that. I can't see a fucking thing, so just gotta feel. It's like half the way to work on cars is with your eyes fucking closed. We got it just started down there. You can see it just kind of hanging off the front of that bolt. So I gotta go get my socket set here. See my socket wrench here? And we look up here. Oh man. I don't know if that's coming through. Right here, I can see it right through there. We're right on the head of that bolt. I had to come underneath because with the pulley on the tensioner, it's just too much for me to fit my hand down there with the oil cooler lines or whatever bullshit. And then that fucking metal clip on those lines slicing your hand up. So I'm gonna do it like this. Same thing as before, a billion back and forth. And yes, I know it's not cross-threaded because I did it by hand at first. So plus I'm using barely a finger pressure on this thing and it's going. So yeah, that's just a standard 13 millimeter standard 13 millimeter socket, not a deep. And then I got my socket wrench. Once I start getting closer, I'm gonna go in there from above and try to make sure that that hole and that peg are lined up. Because actually I'm gonna do it now because I feel it, the resistance starting to go up a little bit. So yeah. I can just barely catch it with my left eye. I can see that the housing and the engine block are pretty close. So, and it's also not rotating anymore. I'm pulling up and down on it. It's sloppy because that bolt's not tight, but I know that that peg is seated down there. Try to finish this out. Okay, I feel it getting snug. So we're gonna stop. And we're gonna get the torque wrench. Let me just make sure. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a lot better. That tensioner is a lot better. So, you wouldn't believe how long I had to look to try to figure out what the freaking torque spec is. I did a lot of digging and I got some lower numbers, and I think we're gonna go with 18. So, which sounds better. I don't really feel like putting 37 on there and destroying the aluminum threads. There you go. I got her snugged in there pretty good. Say about 18 foot-pounds. You don't want to have this snap off or strip the hole, because then you're going to be in for a very bad time. So these are aluminum engines, steel bolts. Don't go crazy. It's very important to have a torque wrench. If you don't have one, go get one. So they're not that expensive. Here you go. Here's the new tensioner. And I push on it. Nice and quiet. Spin the pulley. Feels good. Much better. I'm not going to show you how to put the belt on because this car has to be taken in to have this harmonic balancer changed. So there's no point putting all this stuff on and it kind of sucks. So I'll just let the guy I'm paying to do this balancer do that part of the job. So there you go. That's how you change AC belt tensioner on an LS2 engine Corvette.